So this instructional video is going to show you how to connect this LED module to your extension board. And normally your microbit is connected here to your extension board, but I've just taken it out so I can show you this a little bit better. So I'm going to remove this now. If you look at your LED, you're going to notice that your LED has two pins. It has a VCC or a voltage pin and has an in pin. And that in pin is just going to designate which pin number you're going to connect to. Okay. Now on your extension board, you have a lot of pins. You have these black pins here, and these black pins are the ground pins. Then you have these VCC pins. That's going to be your voltage in pins. And the ones that are going to be the trickiest is going to be the blue ones. And so see how it's I just identified as pin. Well, each of these pins actually has a number associated with it. And to figure out that number is, you have to look inside here to see that number. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you that. If you look, each of those pins has a number. So it's going to start out here with pin 0, pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, pin 4, pin 5, etc. So you'll need to be careful with how you are connecting the pin. Now, when I wrote my program, I connected my LED to pin number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and it starts off this first one right here. This first one right here is pin number 0. So I'm going to connect to pin 1 because that's how I wrote my code. And I am then going to connect the other side of my wire to the in on my LED. And then I need to connect my LED to my voltage line. So again, and I'm just going to keep this nice and clean and put my voltage in on the same column as my pin 1. And then I'm going to take my LED and go ahead and plug it into the VCC. Okay, so now my LED is connected to my extension board, but in order to actually run the code, remember you have to have your microbit. And remember that your microbit is always going to plug in, so the microbit words are facing you. And go ahead and make sure you're gentle when you're plugging it in. Don't force it. It'll fit in nicely. Okay. So I've zoomed out a little bit so you can kind of see the setup in its entirety. You've got your VCC line here. This is the red wire, and it goes into the VCC line here on your extension board. And then you've got the blue line, which is your in, and it goes into pin 1 here on the extension board. Okay, so right now there's no power, so it's not running my code. But when I go ahead and plug it, give it power, and I'm going to do that by plugging in my USB cord. The code that I wrote was that the LED would blink, and when it blinks, I'm going to get a symbol here on the face of my microbit, and it's going to give me a check mark when it is on, and it's going to give me an X when it's off. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Remember, your USB can only plug in one way, so always check before you plug it in. Okay, so it's got some power, and there we go. See, I've got a check when it's on and an X when it is off.